That's a great way to start the day. Did you guys were comparing cups earlier. Did you see mine? I brought my Superman cup.
Uh, I have to dig up my Marvin the Martian one pretty soon. He's around here somewhere, I know.
Marvin the Martian. I may have to go online and find one of those. That would be awesome.
I got about three of them. I got like a cold drink one. I used to collect him. I collected every time. And we would go to Hawaii for a holiday, and there was a Warner Brothers store in downtown Honolulu in Waikiki. And they always had, after Christmas, they always had discount uh, shelves or whatever. And
Oh,
I
sure.
had Marvin the Martian, everything from sweatpants to coffee cups. And I think he even got a couple Christmas ornaments somewhere.
This doesn't look right. Do that.
I hear static.
Who are you hearing it from? Let me mute myself.
It's intermittent.
You know, it might be Google Meet just compensating. Feels like every time we pull open this program, there's something else going on. I don't hear static at all right now. I've got my mic open. You guys are all muted. I don't hear a thing.
I don't hear any static.
I'm a little lonely now. I might turn on some music.
Scott, you have a Fitbit. What smartwatch do you have?
Oh, I've got this Huawei Smart Fit.
Well, how much was that one?
About $100.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that gets free monitoring by the Chinese government.
Everything's monitored by every government.
Everything. The only way to get rid of it is to go out into the woods and chop your own wood.
That's right. I could build my own smartwatch, and then it would still be dumb because I'd have to tie it to cloud services to get it to do anything.
I saw on the internet the other day the cell phone users at the February 6th insurrection, we'll call it.
Yes.
You
mean you'll title it appropriately, right? That's what you mean.
But it was a graphic, or not a graphic, but a thing that you had all of the little dots over by where the rally was, and then they all moved down the streets over to the Capitol.
I like that. I hope they use that in the impeachment this week.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Yeah, yep. It'll be interesting to see.
I don't believe it'll happen, but
I definitely think there are going to be people that get a lot more trouble, are in a lot more trouble than the president is. I mean, from a personal perspective. Like if you're going on a one-to-one perspective, the president getting impeached may not be as bad as spending a couple of years in jail for trying to, property damage, overthrow the government, threatening to kill representatives. I mean, those people may be facing a few years in jail.
I think he's facing treason charges personally.
You think he's facing treason charges?
No. Those people should be facing treason charges because it would never stick for him.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the Trump thing too. Is he may get impeached, but I don't see him spending any time in jail. Those. Oh, go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Well, just to put a point on how badly these people are being treated, the one girl that was there and videoing herself and broadcasting inside the Capitol. Just got permission to go to Mexico for a holiday.
Right. And the other guy that's a vegan got moved to a facility that could feed him properly.
Oh, yeah. Because he was losing weight.
Oh.
I'm right around the corner. I'm going to stick this in the microwave for a moment.
So yesterday that my youngest daughter, the one that's at Tulane in New Orleans, got COVID on Wednesday. They
Oh, gee.
so
She
she's
tested
out
positive?
of quarantine tomorrow. She's just extremely tired. So that's both my granddaughters have had it in 2 months.
Jeez, that's scary.
It's very scary. And
are they suffering severe symptoms? I hope not.
no.
Good.
Scratchy throat, tired.
You know, the 80% that don't end up with severe symptoms, when people describe stuff like that, and it's just, I mean, if we had regular testing around here, I might find out that we've already had it. We've sure gone through our own set of normal things throughout the season. Could have been COVID.
See, I think I might have had it last January because I was so tired and, just really coughing and sneezing and coughing and just could hardly take the dog for a walk.
Right. Morning, Chester. You look great.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
We've got excellent internet at the moment. I shouldn't jinx it. I shouldn't have said anything.
No.
I'm going for my coffee.
What are we going to say about Scott while he's gone?
That was the same thing.
I can hear you. Could you hear me okay? I'm using this.
Yeah.
I'm using this condenser mic, and I feel like it's just I've been tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. I hope I sound good, but I'm a little worried it's picking up too much.
Anyway, Scott, here's my I said I had Marvin the Martian everywhere. I just spotted him. He's a window thing, you're supposed to stick on your car window. He sits over here in the corner and watches me all the time. I try not to make him angry.
There we go.
See, do you all static, or is it just me hearing it?
Must be just you. I don't hear it.
Huh.
I hear it.
I hear the faintest of.
It's very.
And I have you cutting in and out at times. I mean, you look great, but the audio is cutting in and out at times when you're talking.
It must be me. Oh.
Well, let me turn these speakers off. We're about 7 minutes till we're going to officially start. Where is... We were talking about this smartwatch or this fitness tracker. This is really more a fitness tracker than a smartwatch. That's probably my only complaint about it, is that it is all revolves around doing activities, various activities. But it monitors your heart rate in real time all the time, and it has an oxygen sensor on it, so it will take oxygen levels while you're exercising, or you can take oxygen levels at any time. Oh, it also has a stress meter on it too. And so periodically through the day, it does stress tests on you.
What's it do? Crank up the wrist cuff so it hurts?
That's right. What it does is it squeezes your wrist. No.
It's got a pin that drills right into your wrist.
That's right.
So the reason I asked, Scott, is I got one the other day. I already got it from Amazon. It's a Sanag. I don't know. It's one of those.
Haven't heard of it.
One of those 700 smartwatches that are on Amazon. But it has the blood oxygen. It has the heart rate. It has the sleep monitor, and it supposedly has the blood pressure. But the blood pressure one doesn't work. It reads the same all the time. So I'm impressed with this company. Like I went to Amazon and asked them if what was the return policy. Well, I could return it for a refund, but they wouldn't replace it. So they said get a hold of the company. And I did. I said, hey, this thing is not working. Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I don't know what it's
Well,
doing.
I did.
No,
I
no,
did.
I've got
I
my
said it.
speakers off. She can't hear me.
Oh,
She can't hear me. What
well,
is
she's
she
listening
doing?
real close.
I got no
Right.
idea. Alexa, what are
Anyway,
you doing?
I'm learning to explain more of my actions. You can check the Alexa app for more information.
Yeah, you're useless. She's got to be doing an update or something. That must be what that activity was.
Anyway, I got a hold of this company in China, emailed them and said, hey, your thing's not working right. So they said, oh, well, here, we'll send you another one. And it's supposed to show up day after tomorrow. They didn't ask me to return anything. They just said, here, have another one.
So what was the problem with the first one? It just stopped working?
No, everything worked fine except the blood pressure reading. It always read 146/83 or something. It would always, or within 2 or 3 points of that. That's all it would ever read.
Oh,
that's not. It's not. It doesn't work. That's not performance. Anyway,
that's
they
interesting.
also
I don't think I have blood pressure on this.
You might. If you don't, you'd know it if you had it. Anyway,
I've got heart rate tracking, and it shows me the maximum, my resting, and my minimum, but nothing about blood pressure. I've used a.
Anyway,
go ahead, Bill.
It was $39, no, $49 Canadian for this thing, and once you get it and you do a review or like a review of their product, they gave you the option of a Bluetooth speaker or a $10 euro money back, like gift for doing the review of their product, and they were out of the
you
speakers.
Get a $10. Wait, you get paid to do a review of their products.
You get not a $10, €10 dollars.
Okay.
Which is worth more, or about in American it's about 1 for 1. I think. Anyway, it's about $15. So I paid $49 for this. They're going to give me $15 basically back, and another watch.
Did it matter whether it was, pardon me, a good review or not?
No. All you have to do is show them the product number or the order number.
Okay.
And then take a screenshot of the review and send it off to them. And they say, okay, what do you want? You want the Bluetooth, which we don't have?
That just sounds like riding the edge of Amazon's terms of service right there.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not from your perspective, but from their perspective as vendors on Amazon, it's a really sketchy area when you're giving people money or gifts for reviews. It's
this is the second time that's happened.
Yeah.
Like Cheryl has a new Android phone, and we needed a screen protector for it. So you get the screen protector, and it was like $10, something like that, 2 of them in there. And then they do the same thing. They give you this offer, do a review, and we'll send you a free gift. They sent her a case, a pretty decent case for her thing. And then she dropped it before she got her case and cracked the screen protector. And then I looked on their package and it says they're guaranteed. So I get a hold of them again. I did the review, and they sent the case. I then sent the thing and says, well, where the screen cracked? Oh, no problem. They sent us another box of 2. We have 2 more screen protectors now. If no questions asked, they just send it in. Oh, they wanted a picture of it, which you can't see anyway.
So how long after you purchased them that you were doing this?
Well, as soon as you get it, like when you get it from Amazon, it usually comes pretty quick.
Sure. But
because it's coming from their warehouse somewhere.
sure,
But
but
when you do the gift thing, then like that case took about 3 weeks to get here. It comes in the mail system. It comes from Chinese mail to
sure.
our mail system into our mailbox.
And I was
But
actually
it comes direct
thinking,
from the company.
I was thinking about when you reported the broken one and their response.
Same thing. It showed up about 2-3 weeks later. It
So,
just come in the mail.
but did you break it just weeks after you bought it? Did you use Amazon as your
Oh,
interface?
no. When it broke, it wasn't an Amazon guarantee. It was their guarantee, and I just contacted them straight.
Contacted them directly. You just forgot about Amazon altogether at that point.
Yeah, there was a website or a Gmail, an email account that was contacted.
You are making me aware of something that I should do, which I will mention in a moment. But I do want to say that I have started the streaming server. And so we are live. I am Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. And you folks are the Computer Club. And we meet every Tuesday at 10 in the morning to discuss tech topics and check in with each other, some of the news, and try and help each other out. And if it gets beyond the computer club, I invite you to get a hold of me. I can help you remotely. If you want, you can contact me directly, Scott at internationalcs.net. I've also, for anyone out there looking for remote help, just send an email to remote at internationalcs.net and I'll get back to you. I can get inside your computer and I can help you with the problem you're having. We have been meeting early every time we have one of these meetings, and we discuss all kinds of things before the meeting starts, not necessarily tech stuff. And actually, it's been a lot of COVID stuff in the past or quality of connection stuff in the past. Bill and I were talking about smartwatches. We made a joke about creating your own smartwatch so that they're not tracking you. And I wanted to, what it reminded me of, I wanted to put it on my screen here, is if you guys aren't aware of this thing is called a Chatterbox. I would have bought it for my kids by now, but it's just a little pricey, but I love the idea. This is a project to build your own smart speaker. And everything about it is disassociated with a large cloud service. It uses something like a Raspberry Pi. It comes with all the parts you need, and you just put the software they give you into it, and you can do smart speaker things with it. It's marketed as a tool to teach kids about computers and critical thinking and communication and problem solving. So if you have a young person out there in your life, this may be a great gift for them. And you don't have to worry about the big ones tracking what your little one is doing. It doesn't go through Amazon, Google, or Siri or Apple. This is its own thing. I'm trying to remember how much they were. I think it was just over $100 though. Yeah, actually it's almost $200. It's $180. It's a Raspberry Pi 3B that powers it. And they provide you with everything. The cardboard, the button, the Raspberry Pi. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
So, Scott, will it hook into Alexa or not?
Well, it'll go to the internet under Wi-Fi, but it uses its own software to answer your questions.
Oh, I see. It'll answer, but you can't control things with it.
Well, I mean, it's probably as controllable as deep as you want to get into the programming because you can program it yourself. It uses its own programming language that you use to program Raspberry Pis or what are these called? Automated controllers. It looks like the software they have will do weather, music, send messages, search the internet. I'm not sure if they've got their own API. They must have their own API. That it must be touching their own servers out there.
The Pi itself, it costs about $40.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is software and all the pieces you need. What's it got here? It's got the expansion board, the microphone, or the microphone board, a speaker, large arcade button, power supply, 16 gigabyte micro SD card with Chatterbox. It looks like it comes preloaded. Cardboard origami case, wireless updates. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Pi isn't included in the package. That's probably why I decided not to buy it, was because it seemed like an expensive add-on to the Raspberry Pi. $180. But for some people, that seems like a cheap way to entertain young ones. Hey, Jim, Judy, good to see you guys. So, I've got a lot of screens here with no faces on them. I don't know if anybody else is having that experience as well. Is that because everybody's gone to get coffee at the same time? Hey, Jim.
Jan brought me a bacon sandwich.
Oh, all right. Well, Bill and I were also talking about his experience sending stuff back that have gotten broken, those screen protectors we were talking about earlier. And it made me remember this is something new that we've introduced in our life. I don't know if you can see this. This is one of those magnetic couplers for your phone. So can you guys see that? Let me full screen myself.
We can see it.
There we go. So this is a nub that you put on your phone, and these are the cables they sell. I like the blue light. It's got a little LED light at the end, so it's easy to find. But this is what you do to charge your phone with one of these. And now we're charging. You see that? Oh, I just pulled the plug out because I pulled it straight out. There we go. My plug has gotten worn out because I have various reasons to pull the plug out, but my kids are in there really, really, really tight. And that's all you have to do to charge your phone is. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Bill and I were just talking about sending screen protectors back, and I did not think about approaching the company myself. I bought 3 sets. These are the nubs, if you can see that. They're really hard to see. Micro USB.
What was the cost of them?
$15 a package. And a package, I think I've got a package right here. The package came with a 6-foot cable, a 3-foot cable, and six ends. Maybe that's easier. 6 ends. Now came.
There's no wall adapter.
No. This is USB cables. Whatever USB wall adapter you're using right now, it should plug into. These 6 adapters, I got 2 micro USBs, 2 USB-Cs, and 2 lightning cable. So you can buy one of these packages, and it's going to cover whatever device you're using. It comes with 2 cables, 6 connectors. I use micro USB for everything, so in my world, I got 2 connectors, not 6 connectors, because I don't have USB-C or Apple. So, but that's how it came. That was 300 pesos in Mexico. That's roughly $15.
They work slick.
They are real slick. I turned my family onto it at Christmas. I bought them for my kids, for my wife, for myself. And I've just kept buying more because I now I have a cable like this in every place around the house. I've got a cable like this in my car. So here's the reason I bring it up, and I'm going to have to approach the company like Bill did, is the reason I have these two in my mists is because they stopped working. One of them's my wife's and one of them's my daughter BB's, and they just stopped working. BB's had the worst luck with it. She's had 2 of them fail, and one of them, yeah, wait, no, we've had 3 fail in total. Out of 6, we've had 3 fail, and one of them crumbled. Like she was messing around with it, and the plastic broke on it. So I am in love with these cables, and I'm going to approach the manufacturer about that and see what they say, whether they'll send me out new, because I can buy these separately. You can buy a pack of 5 of them for 450 pesos in Mexico, right? Or I can buy a pack of 6 with 2 cables for 300 pesos. So I'm not happy with my options in that respect. So I'll get a hold of the manufacturer and see what they say about it. Outside of the ones that have failed, the ones that and you can see I've bought more. And out of the ones that I've bought more and the cables, everything has worked beautifully except for those 3 plugs. And I think what it really comes down to is it's a new thing for my family. And they've banged their phone, or they've had to pull it out and put it in a number of times, and because of something else they were doing. And so it's taken damage because we're just not accustomed to working with them. So we've broken them the same way you break anything else, not knowing how to be careful with them. As we go.
And where did you buy them?
On Amazon. On Amazon. I really didn't have any intention to talk about it except for talking with Bill about his experience. It just clued me into, I got to contact the manufacturer because it's way past any time Amazon would be responsible for it, but they might be responsible for it. I just actually wrote a bad review to them telling them what I told you. Out of 6 plugs, 3 of them are bad. And they didn't come bad. They ended up bad after use. Another thing, if you didn't see it, I think this is very cool.
What company is this? Can
you see the movement here? You see how this has got a swivel at the end of the cable? It can go 90 degrees either direction. Isn't that cool? Should save the cable from going bad. The cable going bad is no longer the problem. The problem is these little ends going bad.
And what company is this?
Oh, you're not going to recognize the name. I don't have it right in front of me.
Well, I got Amazon up, and there's like 20 different ways to buy these things.
I got a different brand, and mine has been just fine. But I don't have the swivel at the end, so some of them are different.
Yeah, they're all different. In fact, when you look at the ends of these, you see how it looks like it has a bullseye at the bottom, at the end of it. So this is a standard. There are also ones that have 3 dot points, and that's a standard. And there's ones that have 4 dot points, and that's a standard. So any of the ones that have that bullseye are going to work on these cables. And that might be, as I go forward, it may be a matter of finding who's building these connectors. It's not from the original manufacturer. I just buy them from somebody else that has a better quality. Judy, on yours, is it the bullseye at the back?
I have to check.
Because I might want your name brand if you're happy with them.
It has a bullseye at the back.
Okay.
What goes into the appliance. But my cables are different.
They don't have that swivel. Maybe you want to buy the cables from my manufacturer, and I want to buy the bullseyes from your manufacturer.
Well, when I got them was when we talked about this at this computer club meeting.
Yeah.
A 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were buying the yellow ones or the red ones.
Oh, okay.
I'm not very...
Well, I got into it.
Anybody else remember that?
remember the conversation, but I don't remember the brands or anything.
I don't remember the brands either. And
No,
I've thrown everything away, but they've lasted all this time.
somebody.
The nice part is if you have different things, like I have a Kindle and I have an Apple phone, and if I put these in, I use the same cord for both. And my husband has a Samsung phone, so we just have one plugged in, and we can plug any appliance we want into it because the connectors all have the same connection on them.
It's awesome in that respect. One of the strange products that I got. Well, before I say that, I want to show you something else. Here's a pair of Bluetooth headsets, and I got a bullseye on those. Right? And how nice it is to be able to, and I love this action. I love draping the cable. Damn it. Can't see. I love draping the cable near it and having it just connect by magnet. It's You're not fussing around with the port. How often have you plugged in a cable and you were worried that you might have broke the plug, the jack that you were plugging it into? And that's no longer an issue. And so we've got these now on our headsets because my kids have headsets of this style with USB ports. And one of the weird presents that I got for Christmas was an electric charged plasma lighter, which sounds a lot cooler than it is. It's just a little arc that goes across. It has a battery. You can barely light the stove with it, but it looks cool. It's charged by a USB-C connector because C is the new, that's what everything's going to start changing to. So I took one of my extra USB-C bullseyes and stuck it on that. And now when that's drained, we just stick it on the same thing we would have plugged the cell phone into. Very, very cool way to minimize the amount of damage you might do to the port of your device.
It's like the old MagSafe with the Apple.
That's right. Now, disadvantage of doing something like this. Oh, and Judy, I want to say that I was the same way. At one of our computer club meetings, somebody brought it up as a recommendation. I kept it in the back of my head. And then right before Christmas, I'm surfing Amazon and they popped in front of me. I'm like, well, there you go. There's a stocking stuffer. I'll give that to my family. and I've just fallen in love with it. But it seems a small price to pay to not put force on your device like that with those ports. And I have forgotten what my next point was. Well, this is the Computer Club, and I do try to come with some topics. But I am agendaless. Maggie's not with us, so I'm going to save that for when I see her next. But I wanted to follow up on, we were talking about keyboard covers for the iPad last week, and I had mentioned the Smart Connector, and because I wasn't prepared with any information, I didn't even know that name. But I wanted to just verify for you guys that this Smart Connector does exist. You can see it in this picture here. You see those 3 dots. Let me go full screen here. In between the charger and the cable, they've got an iPad, and you see those 3 little dots on the side. That is the Smart Connector for the iPad. It's on everything since about 2019. iPad Pro, it's been on every generation, on iPad Air since 2019, and on the iPad since 2019. And about the only real question we had about this last week was what can it be used for? There's a better picture of it right there. And in this article, it verifies it can be used for data exchange and it can be used for charging. So these keyboards you're looking at, Cheryl, those are features that it could offer. If you're not finding it, it's because a manufacturer has decided not to offer it. But it's not because it's incapable of using this. It may also turn into a licensing thing with Apple. It may require a different kind of licensing to use this connector for data or for charging. But there's, from what I read, and I'll post this article on today's meeting, what I read, it sounds like you could get a keyboard that has standard USB ports on it if the manufacturer decided to build that. You could get a keyboard that has an extra battery in it to help charge your iPad if the manufacturer decided to provide that. And out of all the products we were looking at last week, none of them had that. None of them had an extra battery. None of them had extra ports. So I thought you would find that interesting, and I'll make sure you've got a link to that. In fact, I'll stick it in copy. I'll go ahead and stick it in our Google Meet in case you want to archive the link now.
Hi, Scott. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Hey, Paul.
I'm doing fine. I see an email, so I had to do a search for SCCC.
Yeah, you didn't get an email this morning? Anybody else
No.
not get an email this morning? No? Okay. Or maybe they're not
No,
here
it's
because
just
they
me.
didn't get an email.
I guess I'm not supposed to be here.
Oh my gosh, you reminded me. I meant to send Sid something. Yeah, go ahead.
Some people just don't know and they're not welcome.
I guess. How long has the meeting been going on?
Oh, we're almost done.
Yeah, where you been, Paul?
I've been scanning the internet.
Well, you could always go to scclub.org and find us in meeting there. You can find, I always use the same links. So if you've got it on your calendar, it shows up in your Google Meet as something you can click on. If you've still got the link from last week, that'll get you into this week. We haven't had a reason to change that information. Give me one.
That's what I did. I looked for an old email.
So Paul,
I
get like 4 notifications.
Some people are truly wanted
I think that's
at
me.
the meeting.
Yeah, Judy, I get 2.
Well, I get 6 notifications then.
Yeah. You're like the Russian.
I am.
You're like the Russian vaccination. Well, mine's 95% effective.
Yeah, exactly. But what I did miss this morning was Paul's ukulele intro.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about that, but I did get my shot though
Oh, good for you.
Congrats.
at Kaiser.
I didn't get a chance to comment on my father either. He said he got his second shot, didn't he, earlier before we started the meeting? So is this your first
Yeah,
or
he
second,
did.
Paul?
That was my first one. So my question is, after I get my second one, do I take a card and put it on a string and wear it around my neck?
That's right. That's your
I
vaccine
think that
passport.
you cannot post it online.
You can't what?
Really?
Post it online. They say it's not safe to post it on site. They say.
Well, what's
The infamous they.
I've got
They
lots.
also say don't lose.
I got lots of questions. What are you talking about not posting? A card that says you got it?
Yes.
And why would it be unsafe?
Because people can get your information.
Oh, is there
Yeah,
private?
I
Okay. I guess
you need the card to get your second shot. And if you lose the card or somebody finds it, yeah, they can go get your second shot.
Wow.
Or if you
what,
have a good image on the internet, they could take it and forge it.
right? They could print out their own copy of your card.
Here in Arizona, they're just saying just don't lose it. Keep it safe.
It would be what a funny twist of events that we're living in a world where there's a whole faction of people that don't trust getting the vaccinations and they wouldn't get it to save their life, which it probably would. And
Or someone else's.
And then we have this other faction of people, like, what wasn't it last week? You guys were talking about a CEO flying into the Yukon to fake being a hotel worker so they could get the vaccination. You're talking about the safety of.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you're talking about the safety of yourself because you might post your vaccine card online. Somebody might jump and take your place. What a bizarre world we're living in right now. It seems very polarized. You have a whole faction of people that don't want the vaccine no matter what, and another faction that want it so badly they're ready to lie, cheat, and kill for it.
Well, I've tried to get on the Mexican site to register since I'm over 60, and it kicks me out every time.
Oh, really?
So
that's a good update.
I have not tried since last week when it first came online. I tried for a couple of days, and then I got tired of doing it. Because, you know, your CURP is like all these unrelated letters and numbers except for your birth date that's in there. So
what now? Your CURP number, that's off of your immigration stuff, right? Yeah, that's what Yuya was telling me. I'm really curious how it's going to go down. I suspect that anyone here in Mexico would be able to get the vaccine. I mean, given they fit the criteria.
Right. Right now it says if you're over 60 and want the vaccine, here's the site that you register on. Yeah.
And I've got that link. But what I'm curious of is, like, say you're a 6-month tourist visa, are you going to be able to go get the vaccine? And my default answer would be yes. It's just a different hoop you have to jump through because you don't have a CURP number. There's got to be some other process. I'm waiting for a friend of mine that's in that circumstance to come back with some information about it.
Oh, because, you know, before with the flu vaccine, you just walk down to a central place and they were giving them out everywhere.
The big difference between the flu and this COVID is I think that when you finally get registered, Judy, they're going to call you with a specific time appointment.
Yes, and somebody said that they had read on Viva, which, you know, is not very reliable most of the time, that they will come to your house and administer it.
Oh, well, you know what? That could be true because they had people running around in cars earlier in the year. What was that, Cheryl?
Well, I've heard people say that the vaccine or the flu vaccine is free in Mexico. And I know both of us have gotten our vaccine there in the past and we've paid for it.
I don't,
you know,
I don't know why you would have to pay for it. If you go to Eames, it's free.
So I guess I just went to the doctor. We went to Dr. Kennelly at one time and we went to Dr. Mike another time. And both times we paid a US dollar fee.
Yeah. In Mexico, if you go to their socialized medicine, you can get the flu vaccination for free. And I know that the thinking is that if you're here, you could be a contributor and they want you vaccinated. And I don't see why that mentality would change just because it's COVID. I mean, I understand supply and demand, but the whole point is to vaccinate the people that are here. And it doesn't matter they're
at the.
Say that again, Judy. I'm sorry.
I think at the Alamo Music Festival a few years ago that they just had it set up in one of the plazas, and you could go and get your that was your flu vaccine. So.
Yeah, it's such a different approach, isn't it? Now, Cheryl, you wouldn't pay for vaccines for flu vaccines in Canada, would you?
It depends. We have sometimes tried to get it before it was being released. So if we waited till the public health were giving the vaccines, it would be free. But we wanted to access it so that we could go south. And we were leaving before the date that was going to be released. And we paid a small fee to our pharmacist just to administer it.
Oh, okay.
But the basic vaccine is free. It's more the putting it in your arm that you're paying for the service of it.
Yeah, I think it wasn't Chester was talking about that, that there might be an administrative fee that's associated with it.
What I found out was that if you have insurance, they would like to charge your insurance for an administrative fee. And if you don't have insurance, it's free. If you do have insurance, apparently they're going to charge some fee, in our case, Medicare.
Well, that seems reasonable, especially in this day and age where I mean, I don't know. I feel like the United States healthcare system is in transition, whether they want to admit it or not. There's stuff happening. This COVID is sparking changes in the way we do public health.
Let me tell you about one I read on Viva this morning.
Okay.
Some lady called Chandler, Arizona yesterday and lined up her vaccination for 2 days later. And that's unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, still fake. But apparently Chandler just went online with available vaccinations. Everywhere else I've heard of, the whole month of February is already booked up. But apparently not Chandler. Just thought that was of interest.
Yeah. Yeah, well, also, I know that. Oh, go ahead, Chester. Sorry.
I understand people are also making appointments in Nogales to get the vaccinations. That'd be a nice.
We got ours in Nogales.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a nice.
Nogales was good.
And that's through Arizona's Department of Health, and that was free, and there was no issues with that, Judy?
We had to give them an address in Santa Cruz County. Okay. We have a son that lives there, so we moved in with our son for the week.
Cheryl's asking if we missed the recommendation portion. We haven't even gotten through the intro yet.
Isn't it 10:30?
It's a long intro.
Okay.
What's your point?
I guess I didn't miss it. Sorry.
Well, we had the follow-up, and we had some stuff, I guess, in COVID stuff. And okay, are you guys ready for recommendations? I'm looking at my list, realizing I didn't bring anything with me. I hope you guys brought something. Hey, here comes Sid.
I have 3. Oh, here comes Sid. Good.
Sid's just in time for a recommendation segment. Good morning, Sid.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, it's a morning.
Yeah, and if you hadn't just sent me a notice on Messenger, I wouldn't have woke up either.
I got to remember to do that. I know you'll join us as long as I wake you up.
Yeah, you still got me. I'm still available for a couple weeks.
So, Cheryl, what you got?
So I watched Firefly Lane. It was a 2-night marathon binge through the first season. I really enjoyed it. It's 2 girls that are best friends and their life. They're very different people. So Firefly Lane. I quite enjoyed it.
That's on Netflix, right?
Yes, and I think I saw it on Prime as well. I think it's available in a few places.
I'm so predictable. I saw it and I immediately skipped past it. I'm like, I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't interested the first time I saw it, but then I did go back and it got me the very first episode and I watched all of them. So Firefly Lane. Last night I watched a tearjerker. It's a movie called Penguin Bloom, based on a true life experience of a young wife, mother of 3 boys that has an injury and then goes on to become a champion kayaker and adapted surfer.
Did you say Penguin Blue?
Bloom,
oh,
B-L-O-O-M is their last name.
Okay.
Her name is Samantha Bloom.
Okay.
or Sammy, and it's based on her life, and it's quite an interesting story, a family kind of thing, but tearjerker. And then the one I finally got to was that Midnight Sky that I know your mom talked about, Scott, and a few other people. It was George Clooney, and I definitely gave it a thumbs down. I thought that he was trying to make all kinds of points that were disconnected, and I got tired of his preaching. So I did not enjoy Midnight Sky. Yes, I know we're destroying the environment, and yes, I know there are people that work too much and don't have relationships with their families, but I just thought his cinematography, it was to show holograms, and it just was, he was trying to jam a lot of stuff into an hour and a half that it didn't.
I didn't pay any attention. Was he responsible for that? Did he produce it, write it, or direct it, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think he did. That was the full meal deal.
Yeah. Well, I'll put that on the list of not recommended for this week by Cheryl. I put Cheryl does not recommend.
But I think that your mom liked it, so I'm not sure.
You liked it as well. I fell asleep in it.
But there you go.
But that says nothing. I can fall asleep in most things. We get over 9:30 at night and I'm lying on the couch. I could fall asleep through just about anything except Star Wars.
Well, this was no Star Wars, that's for sure.
When you started in this the reason I'm aware of this verse when the TV show you're recommending, Firefly Lane, the reason I'm aware of looking at it and skipping past it is because Firefly is one of my favorite TV shows. If you're a sci-fi fan, you know what Firefly is, and it's an easy recommendation. It is awesome. Firefly, was it the early 2000s? Sid, help me out. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, it was early 2000s.
Early 2000s, and it is like a space western.
Oh no, down to horses.
It is.
I think it's a space western.
Yeah, it is an awesome show, and they had one season on Fox, and they canceled it. And in the sci-fi community, it is one of those death strokes that Fox has done. It was a Joss Whedon project. Joss Whedon is the director and writer of many of the Marvel movies. So the Avengers, those movies. Joss Whedon plays a big part in that. He was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, wasn't he? That's where he got his start, was on Buffy. But he's really well renowned in the sci-fi circles. And sci-fi people have just always been upset with Fox for canceling. Fox, during this time period, had a reputation for killing great shows because they weren't attracting the right advertisers. And all right.
Doesn't like
somebody's got to bring that dog to the meeting or mute their microphone, one or the other. I want to see the puppy. Or you got to be quiet.
That was Boo, and it was every time you said the word Fox, he barked.
Got excited. Where's the fox, Mommy? Where's the fox? Well, I'm going to add that to my list of TV show recommendations. If you don't know Firefly and you're a sci-fi fan, you've got to know Firefly. And it is so well renowned with the fan base that years later, the whole crew got together to make a movie. And the movie isn't so much a continuation as it's a kind of a synopsis of the series. It's more like a summary of what the first season was, but in movie format. And it's great. I recommend it as well.
It's a lame attempt at giving us an ending.
Yeah, but it gives us the starting. It gives us all the pieces, but it's all new. It's not like they've piecemealed the series. It's like they took the story thread of the season, and then they built a movie from that thread that was all new content. Oh, and the movie's called Serenity. That's the name of their spaceship, Serenity.
I'd like to point out something to those of you that have DirecTV that I just learned this in the last few months. There is a series in the 1500 channels where there are hundreds and hundreds of movies and series that you can stream that come with your DirecTV subscription.
Oh, yeah, on demand you're talking about. Kind of like a Netflix experience, but from DirecTV.
Yes, right, but through DirecTV. And like all the HBO series, all the HBO movies, and I haven't exhausted or even begun to understand how many are there. But I had one other thing I wanted to point out, and that is when you get to be a senior, you have forgotten a lot of the series that you've watched in prior years. So you get to enjoy them again. And I'm going through that with a series that I just got back into, and it's called The Pacific, which is done by DreamWorks and produced by Tom Hanks. And it's fighting the war in the Pacific.
Oh, that's... Yeah, Chester, you were talking about that a while back. You said The Pacific, is that right?
Yeah, it's called The Pacific.
Yeah, it's based on a book written by the main character from the show. It's A Helmet for My Pillow.
That's the book?
And it's his... Yeah, that's the book. It's his memoirs from the war.
It's a fabulous series, but it's bloody.
And I can't find it in Mexico.
The Pacific?
Mm-hmm. But I don't use...
Did you try Just Watch to see if it would come up?
No, I couldn't remember.
You have to put in the is an important part of the title.
It just wasn't available on any of my...
What you've got access to. Let's see. The Pacific is available on HBO Max in the United States. Let's see.
Try Amazon.
I'm looking for Mexico. Look at that. In Mexico, I think we talked about this last time we talked about it. It's available on HBO Go, which means you have to be a cable subscriber or a satellite subscriber to HBO to begin with. Or, and this is the one that makes me laugh, it's available on Mobistar. So if you have a Mobistar cell phone, you can use their streaming service to watch The Pacific.
Wow.
It's also...
I have neither.
You have neither. There's also... It's available from the Microsoft Store, but I don't think any of us want to buy content from the Microsoft Store, at least not yet. Not at this point. They haven't proven themselves to be... They're not going to be the steward of content I'm going to pay for. Because what they're talking about you owning it, right? So where would you own a movie, actually? I think that's a great question. If you were going to buy a digital license to a movie, add it to your virtual collection, where do you feel most comfortable buying that? I've never purchased content like that to begin with, but I think it would be hard for me to buy it from someone other than Apple, Amazon, or Disney, because you just know those services are never going away. You know those services are working to make it possible for you to watch that movie wherever you want to watch it. If you spend any time in the Microsoft Store, you'll understand why I've got a bad attitude towards it as far as content goes. It is not the place that you find secure applications or high quality anything. Hey, this Penguin Bloom is a New Zealand film. Did you know that?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Scott?
Yes, sir.
I sent you that list of
I've got it. Yeah, Fred found a list of 100. Or go ahead, I had it in front of me. Where'd it go? Here it is. Recommendations. What should you binge watch next? 100 plus recommendations from the Cord Cutters news readers. I'll put this link on today's We're not going to go through 100 plus things that you can watch. But these are
think we would.
but these are binge-worthy series. So if you're sitting around in quarantine feeling like you don't have enough to watch, there's some good sci-fi on here too. I've watched all these. Stranger Things, easy recommendation. Fringe, loved Fringe. I'm an X-Files person. I watched over 10 years of X-Files. I love X-Files. Fringe is the newer version of X-Files. Colony, that's a great show that's about alien invasion and surviving after the invasion. Actually, the first episode starts after the invasion, like months after the invasion, and how people are surviving in their cities while being conquered by aliens. Lost in Space is a great visual. Definitely want to binge that. That goes by so fast. 1 hour is almost not an hour in their world. Like you go from one episode to the next on a cliffhanger to cliffhanger to cliffhanger all the way through the episode, all the way through the series. And that's a modern day version of the Lost in Space from TV. Okay, I said I wasn't going to go through 100 plus, so I'm just flipping through this. But sci-fi, thrillers, action, classics, these are all recommendations if you're going to binge, and I will put that link in today's meeting, but I also pasted into this chat if you guys want to look at it sooner than that. Because I've got a rep of taking almost a week to get the post out.
What's Cord Cutter? Cord Cutter?
Cord Cutters News. It's a website dedicated to people that are doing streaming instead of having satellite or cable TV. The Cord Cutter is actually a description that has been used for years to describe people that have given up on cable boxes and satellite boxes. They've cut the cord. You can't see my fingers. They've cut the cord, and they're doing everything across the internet.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, but can you organize it into, like science fiction or action thriller, or is it just a
This
list?
is just a list, just a raw list. They've organized it. They've got a category here of sci-fi. Haven, that was great. 100, that was. I've seen everything in. Oh, I haven't seen Alice in Borderland. Sid, have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't.
It
looks interesting.
It looks good. Isn't it based on an anime?
Not sure.
It sure looks like it's based on an anime. It's the only one in this list that I haven't watched. And out of the sci-fi stuff, I could recommend all of it. The Magicians, I don't know if any of you are into this kind of stuff, but the Magicians is a TV show that is like Harry Potter for millennials. It's like for people that are in their mid to late 20s. It's Harry Potter for people that are of that age, like they would be in college or just out of college. They deal with a lot of adult themes.
Mr. Mercedes is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's another one that's really easy to recommend. That's all about tracking down a serial killer. And it's got some supernatural stuff happening in it as well, but it's very subtle. Like you don't realize, I don't think you realize the supernatural aspects of it until you're getting into the second season. Altered Carbon Tree. Yeah, we could talk about everything on this list. I'm not going to.
So I just watched a sci-fi thing that's on YouTube, or not YouTube, Netflix right now in the States. It's called Space Sweepers.
Oh, we watched that too. What'd you think?
Yeah, the visuals on that are amazing.
It was too much. It was like watching a Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah, no, Koreans are great about that.
Oh, it was just like sci-fi special effects pumped up on steroids. There was so much to pay attention to.
But it's a neat story.
Space Sweepers. You want a synopsis? Can you do it?
Yeah.
They're intergalactic garbage men. That's not necessarily true, but it's close.
What it is it's the planet's become Earth has become kind of toxic, and people have moved out to these facilities that orbit the planet, and space sweepers are these guys that go out and grab all the space junk that's flying around before it hits one of the facilities.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it. They're like cowboys, like these flying debris orbiting the planet are threatening these facilities that they're all living in. And so these like space pirate cowboys are riding in these ships, and they have to capture this garbage before it causes damage. They're shooting like harpoons at it and trying to grab it and make sure it doesn't crash into stuff. It's life-threatening. It's
which is funny. That's very little of the story.
I love the way it was all. I mean, like, I think garbage men worldwide would find a lot of pride in this movie.
So I went to that link that you just put up.
Yeah.
With the 100 things. And over on the sidebar, I found something about Netflix and Prime coming this week, and it was listed. And then I scrolled down to the bottom. Amazon is preparing to add live TV to Prime Video.
Wow.
You know, they've been saying they're going to do that for a long time now. And haven't they done that with sports in the States? It seems like you can...
Yeah, they've got to deal with different sports groups, and they put on the games,
and those things pop up on your Amazon Fire device right in your selection menu, like right there where it's got. I'm sorry, Judy, did you want to add something?
Well, no, I have a question. That link popped up on my screen and then it's gone. Where did it go?
It's in the chat. If you've got the chat bubble, click on that and you'll be able to see what we've been passing.
Okay.
Find the chat.
Like if you're looking at my window, the chat is up here. It's a bubble with lines through it, and it brings up this list of things that I guess me and Cheryl have been contributing to.
That on my iPad.
I think it comes from the bottom of the screen. Is that right?
I can't get Google Meet to work on my iPad, but that's another story.
That's the reason you're looking at buying a new iPad. I know it.
I have a question about that too.
Ooh, yeah, let's get in on that. Your mind's about to die.
Have we?
No, my question is this: if we buy another thing, iPads or what we're looking at, we already have 3 or 4 different iClouds, memberships. What are they called? Apple IDs?
Yes.
And every Apple ID comes with X amount of storage in the iCloud. And we've tried to make them a family. Should we create new Apple IDs or should we go with our ones? What should we do?
No, you should try and minimize that as much as possible. Fred, we've got some garbage coming through your microphone for some reason. The whole Apple ID thing is so convoluted through the years and the generations of this equipment, what you should do. But right now, what you should do is avoid getting an Apple ID as much as possible. If you've got 4 of them already, well, that's a bit frustrating. Having them in a family means that you can share each other's content. So if you made purchases across those 4 IDs, you should be, as a family, be able to get access to those purchases from any one of those. But in a perfect world, Cheryl, you'd have your own and Bill would have his own, and you guys would be able to share your content with each other, being part of a family. I would.
But that's Apple purchases, right? Because
Right.
we've done more with Amazon. We've got Amazon Music. We've got
Amazon's.
Disney+.
Yeah, Amazon's a different story, but they've got a similar type of arrangement. I have yet to do it, but apparently you can add other Amazon accounts under a family, and you get the same effect. You get to share in purchases, and you can actually, in a family in Amazon, you can designate whether they have purchasing power or not. So like I have kids, I could say they can't buy anything without getting approval through a master account. But
well, that works with Apple, but so an Apple ID, we can share and all that kind of stuff, but aren't we getting more of an advantage if we have another Apple ID? Don't you get more iCloud?
Well,
there might be some advantages to the other way of doing it.
I mean, you can set up more IDs. The problem is that your space is, you're not able to combine those spaces. So your new Apple ID, without buying anything, how much space do you get? I think it's 15 gigabytes. Maybe it's 5 gigabytes. I don't remember the last time I looked at my Apple ID, what they give you for free. It's not like you can bring all those blocks of space together. You also, under another Apple ID, unless you've got it as part of your family, then you won't have access to content you've bought on those other accounts. There isn't, I guess what I'm trying to get at is there is no transfer function right now. Like if you're trying to consolidate all your stuff under one Apple ID, that doesn't exist right now. If you have purchases in 2 different Apple IDs, you've got to keep maintaining those 2 Apple IDs to maintain access to those purchases, if you understand my example.
Mm-hmm.
That's happened with us, and we've lost track of which one was which, and it's caused us hell about that. We don't, not good.
Yeah, if you guys have your credentials, you should pursue putting them in a family by making it a family account, making them part of the same family. Then you're able to share those contents. They share those purchases between the 2 accounts. And Amazon does the same kind of thing, like I was saying. You can have 2 different Amazon accounts in the same family, and you'd have access to the same services. Music, movies. Let me think. There's one other thing. I remember.
It looks like music, apps, books and audiobooks.
I know what it was. It's sort of related, but not quite related. I was sorting this out for somebody the other day. On Amazon, you could own a number of different smart speakers, right? You could have smart speakers all over the house. And without purchasing anything, you can play the same music everywhere in the house. But what you can't do is play different music in different parts of the house. Like, say, my daughter wants to play music in her room, but I want to play different music in the kitchen. If you have a family plan, she's able to control the smart speaker as her. I'm able to control the smart speaker as me. We're able to play the same music, but only all over the house. If you purchase the Music Unlimited, then everyone in your family can choose different content at the same time.
So you're talking about iMusic?
No, I'm talking about Amazon. Amazon, it's sort of related. It's not quite related, but I wanted to get it out because it really confused me at the time. But if your goal was to have Amazon Music playing in 2 different rooms with 2 different selections, with 2 different people controlling, then the only way I found to do it was to purchase the ultimate music collection. And that would allow anyone in my family to have access to that collection of music. It's something like 80 million songs. And be able to stop and start any playlist they wanted from any of the speakers in the house. Without purchasing that, it didn't matter whether we were in a family or not. All you're able to do is one selection of music, and it can be at the speaker you're at, or it can be throughout the house. But it's either on or off, everything or nothing, without the ultimate music collection. Yeah, Bill.
If you have the system where each person can control it, how does Cheryl control the speaker in the living room and I control the speaker in the bedroom?
Well, first of all, you have to have 2 different Amazon accounts under a family. And then you each have to have your own voice profile. And so it takes a little bit of training from what I understand. Honestly, I have only read about this. I've never bothered to set it up. I've always found...
Is that training for me or training for Amazon?
Both.
No.
It's letting Amazon get to know your voice so it can distinguish between your voice and Cheryl's voice.
Yes, we had a little experience with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my granddaughter decided that she wanted it to identify her as me, and so she tried to make her voice. Yeah. Anyways, it was a thing in a grandmother's world that she got it so that it would say, "Hello, Cheryl. I'm speaking to Cheryl." You know. So
in my world of always having to learn stuff for my job, this has been very low priority. I've kept it in the back of my mind, but I've never wanted to take it on because I just didn't want to open that can of worms. I didn't want to get 4 Amazon accounts. I didn't want to get into setting permissions for kids. I didn't want to get into training voices. It just, for me personally, I got enough stuff that I'm learning how to do for my work. I didn't want to learn how to do that either. So I've never pursued it, but I've read about it and I know all that's possible.
So I'm just looking at my Apple ID, and under family sharing, we have Bill Thompson is the organizer. He's the only one that can add members. I've got Cheryl Howell that says me in brackets, and then another Cheryl Howell, which is another adult. So I know that I've got 2 Apple IDs underneath Bill's family. Down the bottom, it says shared features, and you can turn these on or off. Purchase sharing, iCloud storage, location sharing, Apple Music, TV channels, etc. So iCloud storage, I've got it turned off. If I turned it on, we would still only have like 1 iCloud storage sharing.
No, you would have yours, which could be shared amongst those people. And then you'd have the other one from the other account that can be shared amongst those accounts. But they wouldn't accumulate. So you would have to, on your device, you'd have to choose which storage you were going to use.
So my iCloud storage has 5 gigabytes.
That's right.
So under each of the family IDs, there's 5 gigabytes of storage. But if they're shared, it's only 5 total?
I'm getting it. I'm understanding what you're saying, and I don't know if I have an answer for that. Let me do a quick search here. ID family sharing storage iCloud, because what you're talking about is like storage to back up. Like I want to back up my Macintosh, and I paid for the 2 terabyte tier, and I put it in family. How come I can't use it on my cell phone? Tap family sharing, tap iCloud storage. Following these steps, existing plan if necessary, upgrade to 2 terabytes. Storage plan with your family.
So we have to turn that on. So if I turn that on and one of the iCloud accounts bought a terabyte, then it would be all of the iCloud accounts.
I may have an answer for that in just a second.
Okay.
Set up shared storage for your existing family members from your device, settings, system preferences. Tells you how to do it. Manage your family's iCloud storage. Use the steps below. Family organizer, family member that purchased the plan can buy more. Your family is low. All members get a notification. So if your family is low on iCloud storage, all members get a notification. Then the family organizer or family member that purchased the plan can buy more. So it looks like it's cumulative. It looks like any one of those plans could buy the storage from the way I read this.
Okay.
Here's
And also
another
down in the fine print that your family can also share a photo album, a family calendar, or find family devices by asking Siri to ping them or viewing them in Find My. So it looks like we could share our calendars, but I thought we already were.
Well, and the way calendar sharing works, you probably don't need to be in a family to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I can just in my calendar, I turn on, the different calendars.
I'm pasting you another link here.
Okie dokie.
This looks like the article that would have answers to those questions, and I'll put it on our meeting for today. But if you want to get some instant information, I think that's covering it. I just got to read it deeper. I'm just skimming through it right now. But that surprises me. What's this? This is cool. If your family stops sharing storage or you leave the family sharing, an iCloud storage plan, you're using more than 5 gigabytes, you can buy your own plan to continue to use the storage. If you choose not to buy your own plan, the content that is storing in iCloud exceeds your available storage. New photos and videos won't upload to iCloud. Files will no longer upload to the iCloud Drive, and your iOS devices will stop backing up. Well, that's kind of a passive-aggressive way of saying we're not going to serve you anymore. But what I like about that is it doesn't say that you lose access. What comes to mind is, for example, say you've got 10 gigabytes of content, you leave the family, so you're left with 5 gigabytes available. This reads like you still have access to that 10 gigabytes. You just can't do anything more. Kind of like what Google's proposing will happen in June with their unlimited photo storage. You remember we were talking about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It sounds like you'll still have access to that 10 gigabytes, but everything will stop working as far as the iCloud stuff. You can't add anything more. You can't share any more photos. You can't back up your devices anymore because you're beyond maxed out on your account.
Now that's what's happening with my iPad. I've maxed out my storage multiple times. They've given me suggestions on how to change it and what to download and what to get rid of. But I can't put any more apps on. I can't put anything.
Well, you should read through this. I'll read through it better when I get a chance. But just briefly skimming it, it almost reads like the best of both worlds in this case, better than I was thinking. It reads like anyone in that family group could purchase a storage plan and have it shared. So like in your case, if you needed more space, you could purchase that like a 200 gigabyte plan, and you could choose to make that part of the family share, and now it's available across all the accounts, even though you may not be the organizer of the family.
Yeah.
That's how it reads to me.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. Hey, going back to recommendations for just a moment, there is one that I thought you guys might appreciate. About a month ago or 2 months ago, I had recommended The Trump Show from BBC.
Right.
They have finally come out with, I think it's 3 episodes in total. And they've come out, no, it's 4 episodes in total. And they've come out with the last 2. When's the 4th one coming out? Oh yeah, the 4th one is the one I watched. It just came out January 24th. It's titled The Downfall, and it follows the insurrection. It is great. You get to go into the Capitol with all the crazy people. You get to watch the destruction. You get interviews with the crazy people talking about their motives and what they're doing, what their plan is. You get to watch them taking selfies of themselves. Very, very entertaining. I found it very entertaining.
That sounds like a horror movie.
Well, maybe it's all, maybe it's all about your perspective. I'm not in Washington, D.C. If I wanted to be part of the insurrection without getting in danger, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
John, where do you watch that?
Okay, so I BitTorrented it. I cannot find a place that is streaming this BBC show. It's called The Trump Show, and they're on their 4th episode. I think that's all there's going to be is 4 of them. And I had to use Kodi to find it. I don't even think I was able to watch it on Streamio. I think I had to find it using Kodi and a plugin.
Back to the finding things, we wanted to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. And the Super Bowl was being played, CBS broadcasting over our CTV, Canadian television. But the ads were all our Alberta, COVID, and Canadian cell phones and everything, which are very boring. And we wanted to watch the US ads. So our Roku TV said that we could watch it on the CBS thing. And every time they went to commercial, all we got was talking heads about football. And so it was so frustrating. Anyway, since then, we have been able to watch all of the commercials in one compact, laugh out loud half hour instead of watching them during the game. So we enjoyed
recommendation. Or let's vote. My favorite.
I haven't seen
Super
any
Bowl
of them.
ad is. You didn't see any? Well,
I didn't see any of
some of them.
Oh, you got
the Holiday Inn landscaping. No, Four Seasons landscaping ad. Four Seasons landscaping made it into the Super Bowl ads.
That's awesome. Well,
it is awesome.
And I liked the T-Mobile ones. The T-Mobile. The 2 families, like a family drama. That was a good one. T-Mobile family drama. And there's an M&M one where they're apologizing by giving these packages of M&Ms. And I'm sorry I called you Karen. And the woman says, my name is Karen. And she said, I'm sorry, your name is Karen. And gave her more M&Ms, And the guy from Schitt's Creek is on there. And there's this really funny, I'm sorry I meant to kick the back of your seat in the airplane. It's just, funny things that happen. And the M&M guys are just so cute. Yeah.
Yeah. They started doing that with YouTube. They'll do a YouTube of all the Super Bowl ads. And
yeah, we watched it on YouTube. Like different people have their top 5 and different things, but you can watch all of the 2021 Super Bowl commercials.
Personally, I think that's the way to do it. I'm really not interested in watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, cool. It was a good game. It seemed one-sided, but that young'un, as they call him, he was making catches and throwing things. He was throwing things under, people are hanging off of his legs and he's going down and he jerks the ball out and it just about makes it. It was exciting.
I want to go back to this where do you watch this question, and I wanted to show you I'm on Just Watch for the Trump show. It is being streamed in Australia, France, Ireland, Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, and the UK.
Can you present that so it's not blurry?
Oh, I might be able to. Let me do that. Present.
So if you had a VPN set to one of those places.
Maybe let's just try like the UK. What service would it be using? Because it would be both, yeah, like Sky Go. So I think you'd have to have some kind of Sky account to be able to with the VPN. Let's try Australia. I think it's kind of interesting, the list. Yeah, here's some service that I don't even know. 9Now? Never even heard of it. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to watch these on Netflix or Prime. These are very unusual things for the BBC to have licensed with. And I wonder if there isn't some kind of conspiracy keeping it out of the Northern Hemisphere. Because doesn't it feel odd? It's the BBC, right? And why wouldn't there be a Canadian, American, Mexican option to watch that programming? It's non-existent.
What if you click that arrow where it says New Zealand with a down arrow?
Yeah.
Right there.
This is what I was talking about. These are all the places where you can find it being streamed. And none of it.
How about if you there Mexico, choose your country?
Yeah, there's no Mexico.
How about if you type in there and see?
It'll just not have one. Because it's searching that current list.
Nope.
I can, you know what I can do? I've done this before. I can come up here to the address bar and I can put in the Mexican code in the address because it's all virtual. Oh, well, that didn't even bring up a page. That's different than my previous experiences. In previous experiences, when I've done something like that, that's weird. It will bring up the page and say not available in this area. But in this case, it's just saying the page isn't available.
That's what happened to me. I thought it was just watch.ca for Canada.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It doesn't go to anything.
Is there a Just Watch MX? I don't think. No, there isn't a Just Watch MX.
No.
Yeah, and with other shows, I've been able to do that. I've been able to change. I've been able to see up there the country code that they're using and change it, and I'll end up with a page that shows the content, but it's unavailable. I just find it really strange. I mean, it's really good. It has in-depth interviews with people that were in the White House, that were part of the administration, talking about what was happening with Trump, what was happening during the insurrection. It's got interviews with the Congress people, and you're going through the Congress on somebody's cell phone, and you're talking to a congressperson that's talking on top of your journey through and as they're battering in windows and scaring security guards, or you're looking at footage of the Congress people hiding behind the stadium seating there, and you're hearing the interview with that same congressperson explaining how they were feeling and what was going on, and how they were fearing for their lives, and you really get a sense for this was no joke. I mean, the people that made it into the Congress were considered a real threat. I mean, I think they considered themselves a threat, and I think the people they were opposing were considering themselves a threat. And I don't feel like we really got that from mainstream media, from watching it from the outside. But the BBC has really put together a good package explaining. If this were to show up, if they could bring this documentary to the impeachment trial, and Trump would be in a lot of trouble, I think, because it makes it very clear how much danger these people were in. Anyway, that's the end of my recommendations. Has anybody brought any other topics? Anything that we should be... I'm going to close our recommendations segment unless somebody has another show or a website or a service or an app or a book. I put a helmet for my pillow down for a book recommendation because Sid read it, and Sid reads good books.
Helmet for my pillow?
That is what the Pacific TV show is based on.
Oh.
You won't like it, dear.
It's a pretty harsh book. I mean, watching the Pacific is not an easy thing to do. It's really not.
It's too real. Is that what you're
saying? The Pacific campaign had, well, there was a lot of atrocities on both sides, and the show really doesn't pull any punches about it. I mean, you get halfway into it, and yeah, our guys didn't do a lot of nice things, but the other side was doing a lot worse things. If you're a very sensitive person, I would not recommend watching this show. I've got a lot of friends that are combat vets that absolutely will not watch it.
It's just too close to home, I guess.
Yeah.
The fog of war, as they say. Well, I did also come with some tech stuff. If you guys are interested,
let's hear it.
I brought two different things I thought you would find interesting. One is a tip for Windows 10 users, and the other is information about Google Apps on iOS. And again, like I've said before, I'll put links on today's meeting. But one of the things that I was recently dealing with on my Windows 10 is I've got Windows 10 Mail configured for my mail accounts. So I use the Windows 10 Mail app to get my email. And if you're running Windows 10, you have a notifications bar to the right. In fact, I'm going to put my screen up here, and if I click down in the lower right hand corner, this is the notifications area to the right of the screen, and here are email messages that have come in. And one of the things that was bothering me is that on my phone I can delete garbage emails from my lock screen. I don't even have to go into the email. You guys may have experienced this, is it shows up on my lock screen and I have a trash can right there, or a delete function right there. You can't see me touching my hand, but I'm basically doing this thing. I've got a delete button right there, and I don't have to go in and read all my email. I can see it announced. I'm like, that's a junk mail message. I don't even need to see it. And I can press that button and it's gone. I wanted the same thing for Windows 10. When they show up in this notifications, you'll notice that, let me get rid of some of these. You'll notice right here, there's a trash can for delete, but that is not default. And the default is to archive it. And what that means is it gets the notification away. It's still an unread message, and it's still sitting in your email. So I may be able to get it out of the notifications list, but I still got to go back to my email and deal with it. Well, Microsoft provides a way to configure what this button is going to be, whether it's going to be a delete or an archive. And that is done in your mail settings. And I'm going to quickly take you on a journey to Windows Mail settings. I'm going in here to Windows 10 Mail. If this is too blurry, I can go into presentation mode. Maybe I'll do that anyway. Let me just do that. Dun, 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 dun.
This is a very similar problem that I have with Apple Mail.
There may be a similar solution, because I definitely have experienced it before on Apple devices.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be looking now at Windows 10 Mail. and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 email accounts configured in my mail. Down here at the bottom of the left column to the right is the settings gear. And if you click on that, it brings up the settings column on the right. And if you go down to message list, then you've got options for your mail accounts. And these are swipe actions. And this is a good reason for me to be bringing it up. The effect I want is a trash can in my notifications on my PC. But these options are called swipe options because it's all been tailored for touch screens. And if you look down here, it says swipe left, and I've got it set to delete. Its default is archive. And I'm also, if you're looking at my screen, you'll see select an account. And so this is my Gmail settings for my first Gmail account. And it is swipe left for delete. And delete is what brings that trash can up in my notifications bar here. Oh, I must have already cleared my email notifications because they're not there anymore. I need a new email message now. But in these settings, and if you're like me, if you have more than one, let me go back to message list. If you have more than one email account, I've got 5 accounts configured in here. You can click this box here, apply to all accounts, and then everything you set down here will be set for every account. So just a quick tip to make things easier for you, if you're using Windows 10 Mail, you can put that trash can right in the notifications field, and you don't have to go into Messenger to delete those garbage messages. Any questions? Anybody care?
No, but I will look and see how mine works on my Apple devices.
And bring that next week so we can have that as a tip too.
Okay. If I remember, I will.
Okay. And again on this, I think the most significant thing to take away from this is called swipe actions. There's no swiping being done on my desktop. So it is a misnomer from our perspective. It makes sense from Microsoft's perspective because they want you to be using touch screens, they want you to be using mobile devices, but it's a misnomer because, I mean, really, a lot of us Windows 10 users are sitting in front of a screen that you can't touch. But that's the only way I could get that trash can is to use a swipe configuration.
But then the trash can is there automatically.
That's right.
Because you can't
say that again?
Because you cannot swipe, that trash can is already there. Is that correct?
Well, they're one and the same. What they're doing is they're saying, because what you can do, in fact, I wonder if I can do it justice. If I bring it over to a touch screen, now I'm on a touch screen. And if I touch the screen, I don't think you can even see me touching the screen. But this is me swiping on the screen. Can you see that?
No.
You can't see set a flag? Uh-oh.
No.
Hold on a second. There we go. So here's a Google My Business email. You can see that right here. And I'm going to touch the screen now. And if I go left, it's a delete. If I go right, it's clear flag. These are swipe actions. You can see a circle, right?
I think it's because you're sharing your screen and it says laptop and how to enable.
Oh, I got you. I'm sharing it to my. I'm not presenting it. That's what I'm doing wrong. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I've got too much technology going on. We want entire screen. Here we go. This is the email screen. This is the one that has touch screen.
Right.
Okay. So there's an email message, and I'm going to touch it, and you'll see a circle appear. You see that? And now I can slide right, and that's clear flag, or I can swipe left, and that's delete. So those are the swipes that it's referring to.
Okay.
Now, before, swiping left would archive the email message until I went into those settings. When I went into the settings and I went into message list and I switched swipe left to delete. When I made that change, then it changed the notifications in that bar to include a delete trash can instead of an archive box. So it's the same setting, but they're using the language for swiping.
Right.
And that's a very typical Microsoft way of doing things. Very convoluted and not very clear.
Thank you. I'm out of here. Bye.
Hey, you don't want to stay for the iOS tip? I got an iOS tip. She's gone. Well, I'll put the link.
Waiting.
I'll put the link for the iOS tip in too. But what it is something completely new to me that I didn't realize is that the Google apps on your iPhone or your iPad have features that we don't get in Android. And there's a whole article here about 7 cool features you can find on your Google apps on iOS, but you cannot find them on Android. Some of the things that I thought were really cool from this is, well, switching between Google accounts. If you have more than one Google account, and I was testing this. This actually works on the Android in the Maps program. It definitely works on Google Maps on iOS. But if you open up Maps or Google Search, it will show an icon of your profile, who you are, your Google account. It will show it in the upper right-hand corner. If you swipe up or down on your photo, on your icon, it will change the account. So if you have more than one Google account, like I've got a personal Google account, I've got a computer club account, and I have a bed and breakfast account. So I don't know if you can see this, but up here is a circle with my picture in it, indicating the account I'm using. And if I pull down on that circle, it switches the app to the other account. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's 7 of these. Maybe I'll get through a few of them. There's one, because I can't test these things. I don't have an iOS device. But you are also able to put these apps in incognito mode. Are you familiar with incognito mode? It's covertly called porn mode.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that mode, your device is not recording the history of what you're doing. So you're wherever, like if it's in Maps, it's not keeping track of the places you searched for on the map. And on the iOS devices, you're able to tap and hold your user account, and it will send it into incognito mode. Now, this doesn't work on the Android device. On the Android device, I got to tap and hold, and it opens up a menu, and there is a incognito mode that I can turn on and off. But apparently on your iPhones, you can tap and hold, and that will flip it over to incognito mode in one stroke. So I thought that was cool. I'm going to mention, well, and another thing, I didn't realize there was an incognito mode for these Google separate apps. I knew there was for the browser. Like if you go into Chrome, you can go into incognito. Well, actually, all the browsers have an incognito mode now. But I didn't realize until I was reading this article that the Google Search app that you can install in your phone, that has an incognito mode. The Google Maps has an incognito mode. So you can take advantage of not having that history accumulate if for some reason you're trying to be sly. I don't know. So that was an eye-opener for me. There is another one I thought was very cool. And if you're not using it already, you might want to check it out. It's called Gboard. Gboard is the Google keyboard, and it's the default keyboard for Android devices now. So if you're using an Android phone, you're using Gboard. But they also have a version for iOS. You install Gboard and you make it your default keyboard, and it has all these extra bells and whistles that go with it. Now let me prefix this by saying, if you use a software keyboard, you can't help but use a software keyboard because it's a mobile device with a touch screen. So you need software for the keyboard. Those keyboard strokes can be tracked and can be added to a history of a profile. Whether it's an Apple keyboard or Google's Gboard, every stroke that you put into a software keyboard is being accumulated and tracked somewhere. Just to get that out there. There's no way around it. It's all about who you're feeding the data to. In Android devices, we don't have a choice. It's going to Google. In Apple devices, it's either going to Apple or you install Gboard and it's going to Google. That said, Google has provided all kinds of bells and whistles for you to give up your keyboard data. And one of the things that they've included in iOS is called dot shortcuts. And dot shortcuts are a way of you putting phrases or icons or emojis in dot words. And how it works is you type a period and then you use a phrase afterwards, and you have a predetermined thing that is going to come out. The author of this used the example of popcorn emoji. He likes to use the popcorn emoji, but he can't find it in the emoji list every time he wants it. So he set a dot shortcut to be dot corn, and anytime he puts period corn into his text, it pops up as the emoji popcorn. So I thought this was very interesting because this is kind of like keyboard shortcuts, right? Where you could have predetermined things that you like to use all the time, and you can specify what they're going to be with a period and a name. Maybe you've got a favorite collection of emojis you like to send when you're laughing out loud. Maybe a big smile and a big heart and big open arms. And you could assign those three things all to one dot shortcut. So you would put dot hug and those would pop up in your keyboard. So I found that very interesting. And it's only available on iOS, so I can't test it. I can just tell you about it. You can also theme this Gboard. They've got all these intricate ways of making the keyboard feel very comfortable on your phone. Changing colors, putting pictures in the background, highlighting the keys, making the keys different sizes. All kinds of things you can't do with the standard Apple keyboard. Google has included all that stuff. But again, it's because they want your keyboard data. They don't want you to give it to Apple. They want it for themselves. So they've got a lot of really cool stuff so that you'll use it. And another thing, well, two more things that I thought were cool. I don't know if you care about this or not, but they've got a privacy screen for your Google Drive, which is kind of neat. When you bring up your Google Drive, you sign into it. If you turn on the privacy screen, what that means is if you walk away from it, after a period of time, it relocks itself. You'll probably be able to use a fingerprint to unlock it. But the idea is that if you're in an environment where your files are sitting there on a Google Drive on your iDevice, and you're concerned about the security of somebody coming along behind you, then after a period of time, that relocks itself. I mean, aside from a lock screen on the phone, that one drive is locked with a screen, then you need to satisfy extra security to get past. Maybe you've opened Google Drive and you're working with a document, you switch to another app. Maybe the other app is some meme that you want to show a grandkid. And so you take the phone, you go, hey, look at what I just found. And the grandkid starts pressing the phone and things are getting shot off by accident. Well, if they get to your Google Drive, they can't accidentally delete one of those files because they got to get past the lock screen to begin with. So I thought that was another cool thing. And then the last thing that I thought was really cool out of this article was the Google app. I don't know if you guys use this on your iOS device, but I use it all the time because it's integrated into the Android device. And I find parts of it infuriating. And the one thing that I find infuriating is I like to do Google searches and I like to traverse sources, returned sources. I like to look at 1, 2, 3 sources and I like to compare them to each other. So I like to get like 3 different pages up at the same time. It's not hard to do in a web browser. In a web browser, you do a Google search and then you pop off each one of the sources into a separate tab. So you got like 3 tabs all based on one Google search. The Google app on Android doesn't have tabs, but the iOS Google search app does. And now that I've learned this, I am so jonesing for them to bring it to Android because that's the experience I want. I want to be able to do a search and I want to be able to go, I want that one, and that one, and have them appear in different tabs and be able to go look at that information and close tabs or leave tabs open, all from the Google app. And apparently you can do that on your iOS device, but I still can't do it on my Android phone, even though it's Google. Anyway, great article. Interesting stuff. I don't know if you guys have come across any of that stuff, but I'll put the link in today's meeting and I suggest it for further reading. Just some stuff that might help you out on your iOS devices. Paul, where'd you go? You've just come back. Are you still with us?
My computer jammed. My computer jammed and I had to do a cold boot.
Well, that sucks.
I had to unplug it. It has no battery.
Okay.
Sony took the battery out to make it work. So I unplugged it and brought it back.
All right. Well, I'm glad it wasn't your internet. Since you're back with us and Bill's with us, I'm just going to show you guys. Oh. The new Wi-Fi.
Whoa, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
I have one of those sitting right over there.
So it's pretty
right
awesome.
around the corner.
Now we're just suffering like you guys, the internet providers, reliability. I've been able to set it up.
Now I ordered it. I ordered it. I'm using the plastic device that allows you to just plug it into an outlet.
Oh,
and
so
it just hangs on the outlet.
Flush with the wall.
Right, yeah. Well, not very flush because it's pretty thick, but at least it's out of the way.
Well, we're getting really good Wi-Fi all over the house. We're just fighting with internet provider now. We've got all 3 of them. What is amazing?
Did you guys talk about the?
Go ahead, Paul.
Did you guys talk about life in San Carlos as far as restaurant closures and things like that? I missed that.
No, we haven't really talked much about that. It doesn't. Is there anything new that's closed? I think most things are open still till 8. I think we're still in red. There's a lot of animosity towards being in red because people don't feel like we have big numbers of infections. But I think we're in red because it has to do with health facilities.
That's usually why they switch them around in most places. Is once you start reaching your capacity in the ICU, they start getting nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
The optics of piling bodies in the hallway is not good.
Yeah, or ordering refrigeration trucks.
Yeah, reefer trucks. Reefer trucks sitting on the side.
What was that, Paul?
In LA, they had people in LA. They had people in the gift shop.
Oh wow!
On gurneys.
Well, in someplace in California, they had to loosen the restrictions on the crematoriums so that they could burn more bodies.
Wow.
Probably do multiples.
Oh, who knows?
I have a question about cremation.
I'm going to leave this one for Bill.
Cremated.
What?
When a person is cremated, it seems to me that their gold onlays and inlays and fillings are going to be in a little puddle in the bottom of the ashes, and I'll bet the person that gets an urn does not get that gold.
You think?
Paul, you know, it's funny, but I think, I don't know why I know this, but it seems like the mortician removes all that stuff before cremating. And I think it's offered to the family members.
Could well be.
I don't know why I know that, but I know that.
You know, it's
because some people have a pretty good.
Right, that's a kid's college fund in there. That's Grandpa's collection for.
It's
some
strange.
People have a good melt value.
Right.
When my father passed away, it was years and years and years ago. It was the first time I had to be involved in planning a funeral, and we said, well, what are we supposed to bring? And they said, well, you need the clothes, the suit that you want him buried in, a tie. And he had dentures, so we had to bring them in. And we says, well, and shoes. He says, oh no, you don't need any shoes. And we said, why? He says, nobody's going to see them anyway. You don't need the shoes to go in there. It was something I'd never thought of. You don't need shoes where you're going. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
I just realized I didn't stream this meeting at all. That's really funny. I forgot the last button.
There's that. There's that.
For that one person watching on YouTube.
Got shoes, going to walk all over God's heaven.
I'm sorry, Paul.
There's that spiritual. I've got shoes. You've got shoes. Everybody's got shoes. We're going to walk all over God's heaven.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we're in the process of looking for my mother's rings. She was in the hospital, and she passed away March 31st last year. And the hospital phoned my brother a week ago. So we're getting to 10 months to say that they found her hearing aids. And my sister is on a search for her wedding rings as well. So interesting times.
Yeah, well, I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and I told the dentist, the oral surgeon, I said, I'd like those teeth that have the gold onlays, He says, oh, okay. And after I woke up again, I said, do I have those teeth? And he says, oh, I already threw them away.
Yeah, right.
Bullshit.
Oh, I can't believe I did that. I've got 2 streaming buttons I have to hit, one on my software and one on YouTube, and I forgot to hit the YouTube button. Bad, Scott.
Is there a copy for YouTube? You don't have a copy of this for YouTube. Then.
I've got a copy of it. I'll just have to upload it to YouTube instead of it happening live, which actually ends up in the long run it ends up being a better copy because the stuff that's happening in real time.
It would be bad if.
Go ahead.
It would be bad if we didn't have a copy in the library of YouTube.
That's right. Hey guys, I've got to go. We've got to call this to an end. I've definitely got a full day today, and I am deeply hate to leave you guys, but I've got to go. I've got other work to do.
I wanted to say one other thing that we got Discovery Plus, and I watched 3 issues of Dr. Pimple Popper last night.
That's a show? Dr. Pimple Popper?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a show of a doctor, a female doctor who videos her popping big pimples, and there's all kinds of commentary and
my God.
The strings of, oh God, yeah. And it's a hugely popular show, I guess. I don't know. I've gone by it and saw it and watched some piece of it. I said, why do people watch this? But she pops pimples. That's what she does.
I'm putting it on the list. I don't know if I can handle watching it, but I'm putting it on the list.
Put it on the list. Paul recommend one of Paul's recommendations.
I'm doing it.
My sister-in-law, who's a nurse, won't watch it.
There is a Reddit group called Make Me Suffer.
Oh God.
And occasionally one of their posts, the way Reddit works is that it's a bunch of discussion groups, and then the top, things are voted on, topics are voted on. And when a topic reaches to the top as being one of their most voted on, then it ends up on the front page of Reddit. And so this Make Me Suffer group occasionally kind of floats to the top page of Reddit, and it's always some like massive zit being popped or some open heart surgery going on. And that's the whole point. Make me suffer. Show me something that I can't bleach my eyes from.
Scott, I was just going to say, the smartwatch I have.
Yeah.
This is the charger for it. It's magnetic. You just set the watch in it, and it snaps in, and it charges.
That is great. This is. Oh, it's wrapped in other cables. This is the charger for my smartwatch, and it's magnetic.
But
it's got 2 points on it.
Yeah.
And they actually are not interchangeable. I often wonder what's going to happen with these magnetic connectors if you end up touching them. If they're magnetic, like won't they attach to a piece of metal? Like if these are the charging points, wouldn't you just like fry it by letting it magnetize to a piece of metal?
Let me see.
I haven't.
It's induction.
It grabs metal.
Yeah, yours is induction, like the toothbrush. Mine.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No. There's 2 little metal.
Oh, there's prongs there. Look at that. Yeah, so
but you can only put the watch in one way.
Yeah, I can only put my watch on this one way. The magnets are polarized, so that if you try and put it the other way, it won't connect.
Oh yeah.
But I've also seen this get caught on metal. Oh, maybe I haven't. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
And those are 2. So what if it's plugged in and it drapes across something metal? Won't that burn out my charger?
It'll smell brown.
That's right. Yeah, I was noticing it the other day because every time I go to connect it, undoubtedly I'll put it the wrong direction. Oh, that time I put it the right direction. If I put it the wrong direction, it's offset. It won't. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah.
Right?
It won't. Yeah.
But that's not stopping it from accidentally hitting something metal while it's plugged in.
That's true. I don't know if I mentioned it, but just cruising through the smartwatches, like I just set it for under $50.
Yeah.
And you can get them with EKGs in them now. You have an EKG, you have a blood pressure, you have everything. You got walking diagnostic center on your arm now.
Yeah. Yeah, we settled on these. Part of it was reviews. The other part was we have all Huawei devices in my house.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what sold us on it. They were the look that my wife was hoping for. I got one and she got one. I probably would have picked a different one, but she wanted us to have the same kind of equipment, which I understand because she wants me to learn how to use it.
One of the deciding factors for me was the you know, in the pictures when you look at it, the size your watch face when you pick a watch face, and the size of the numbers on it means that it's big enough that I can read it at night without having to find my glasses. I can read the time off the watch face when it's you know, when I don't have my glasses on, and that's fairly important because
this is. I'm going to take this off again. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've tried a number of different watch faces, and that's the one I finally settled on.
Oh yeah.
For exactly that reason, that when I roll over and I need to look at my watch, I don't need to grab some reading glasses.
Right. Yeah, what I've had up till now is I've had you know, my iPhone on charger sitting there running a clock at night. You know, so there's, you know, but it's the only way I can see the time is if it's big.
Yeah. Guys, I gotta go. I gotta say goodbye.
You said that a half hour ago.
I know.
Bye-bye.
I will see you guys next week. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Bye, Scott.
Bye, guys. Until next time, tech on.
Have fun.
See you, Sydney. See you, Paul.